That's right. You're listening to the Disc Golf Show. Today is December 3rd. Last time I checked, this is episode 25 of the Disc Golf Show. My name is Justin. With me today is that guy.
Nick, that's me.
There you go.
One of those
Nailed it. And just before we get started, though, this show is brought to you in part by Final Nine Sports with their two locations, one in Rockland, one in Orangevale. I can't speak today. This show's going to be fantastic.
Great.
How many times have I said this? I can't even say the sponsor line. Let's start over. This show is brought to you today. I've already messed it up. I'm done. It's yours. Take it away, Nick. What are we doing today? I'll see you guys later.
The best one yet so far. Awesome.
Yep, nailed it.
Well, we're jumping right into it. I mean, I'm sure everybody's heard about it, and if you haven't, well, here you go. Ken Climo's leaving Innova.
You're just gonna.
Okay. I'm going in.
That's the big news.
Heavy.
Boom. Show's over. Thanks for joining everybody. Support
strong.
local.
I'm going in strong. It was one of those things that we've been talking about. End of contract changes and all that stuff. This was nowhere on my radar.
I don't think it was on anybody's radar except
this was out of the blue.
Maybe Ken Climo's.
Yeah, I mean that's the only radar.
And Innova's.
Yeah. But yeah, that
maybe.
Was a
maybe it was on the radar. We don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know.
Well,
I could only see really two scenarios. Really, is one, somebody came to Ken and went, "Hey, buddy, guess what we got for you? Money." Right?
Yeah.
And he was like, I like that. How did you know I like money? And he went that way. Or the other way is Ken Climo came into the office, one day as he does, and everybody's like, "Hey, guys, how's it going?" And a guy in the front desk pivoted around in his chair. Let me reenact this for you. F, boop, 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 you Climo. And he was like, "Oh, yeah? I'm out of here."
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
That's really the only scenario. I'm thinking either beef or money.
Well,
or he could be a third scenario. He could be like, "You know what? Man, I've been throwing Discraft lately. I really like their discs." And he was like, "Time for a new, change of pace." And he left.
Yeah. I
don't know.
Ultimately, usually money talks. So my guess is A on that.
Probably.
Well, the thing is with him, he's been nowhere else. He's been at Innova whole time. So
the whole time,
6+ years of history.
The whole time.
Like, you just up and it's got to be for a good reason, and more power to him. Obviously, if it's money, then I mean that's kind of where everybody goes. That makes the most sense. So
yeah. Ken Climo was an interesting one. To sponsor, right? Because he's not an active player. Right?
Exactly.
But he brings a lot of attention to the sport. I mean, he's the champ for a reason, right?
Yeah.
So that's really what you're getting with Ken there, right?
Yeah.
So it's an interesting one.
Well, with that too, it's tough for me to think that, especially newer players, right, who haven't been around a while, and if he moves to another manufacturer and they start carrying obviously KC line of discs, which is going to be very strange. Is it going to be, well, what are these new lines of discs? Well, then they have to, obviously if you're into the sport, you're going to learn the history of the sport, right?
Sure.
But I don't know. I don't know how much he has so much history with Innova and the line of discs and the plastic, that there's a base there, a very strong base there that is completely and wholly historically connected. So I don't know, and I'm sure there's a level of it, but I am definitely curious as to see where he goes, one, and how it affects that manufacturer in the long run. But
we will see. I'm interested to see where he goes. I'm guessing Discraft. That's my bet. Where are you placing your bet there?
That's the big. Well, Well, we kind of touched on this a couple days ago, was you have a larger company that now owns a variety of manufacturers, House of Discs.
Right.
So they've been thinning out their rosters on all their different manufacturers. Is that something where they see an investment as to being able to you can say use his name, right? And it's not a bad thing. Use his name across all manufacturers underneath.
Right. That's why originally that was my first guess when we talked about this the first time. But I'm going to go Discraft. I just have this feeling that I'm going to be utterly wrong. But I have this strong feeling for some reason he's going.
Well, then what's interesting with that is if he goes to Discraft, then Paul's at Discraft.
Right.
So you have the two champs, basically, right?
There we go.
Right? I mean, it'll be interesting. It'll be, so another side note to this is him leaving Innova leaves a gap.
True.
A massive gap.
True.
And who are you going to fill that gap with? It's got to be a big name, right?
Yes.
And who is looking to possibly move from last year? None other than Isaac Robinson, two-time world champ. Is he leaving? And Prodigy's been having like a 75% off of Isaac's product.
Yeah. I think that's writing on the wall for not staying there.
Yeah. I mean, unless which I heard something of this being an idea, unless there's the thought of, hey, we need to out all this old stuff because now he's two times. So now we need to make room for new product. But I think it definitely leans towards the previous.
Right.
On that note, though that is a good thought process as to where Isaac could go. Big shout out to Isaac, as him and his new wife, Bethany, just got married on November 23rd. So shout out to them. Congratulations.
Very cool. Congrats.
Yeah,
life's over. I'm just kidding. Kidding.
His game's going to tank now.
I mean, traditionally, that's exactly what happens.
That's what happens, right? Yeah, he's not going to win another Worlds. Not a three-peat. But, so it'll be interesting. Definitely still, there's a ton of people out there. I'm sure we'll find out a bunch of them between now and our next episode as to other athletes that are moving manufacturers and where they end up. On to a new note. Well, we touched on it last show a little bit. I just wanted to notate this was Discmania mystery boxes, Bistro boxes, right? They finally announced them and people are starting to receive those things. The one box you can get for $99.99. You can get two boxes for $189.99, which means you're saving $5 per box, so $10 total if you get the two box combo. I think that the mystery box thing is definitely been watered down over the years. And because everywhere is selling mystery boxes, I think there needs to be some sort of invention as to something new, because you're getting, unless you like that manufacturer, you're not getting that mystery box, right?
Right.
I think there needs to be more of like, I don't know. And I know that they're available out there. If you are going the plastic route, to get a variety of manufacturers, you'd have to go with like OTB or Infinite Discs or Disc Store, stuff like that, right? Or maybe they provide boxes. I think now these things need to start including more things other than plastic.
So kind of what you're hinting at is maybe instead of a mystery box, a subscription type service.
Well,
maybe where you're getting more than a disc. Maybe you're getting a disc in a chalk bag or
stuff like that. Which there are companies that do that, but I'm saying in this instance more so for the end of year Christmas, which is when these things start to pop up, which is when they start to push these boxes, right? I feel
Yeah.
like there needs to be more things like, I think Ledgestone is doing it a little bit, where they're including like hoodies, shirts, different items like
Right.
that. Or
Right.
in addition to that, they are starting to incorporate, a lot of these boxes are starting to incorporate like, well, if you get this code, or you might win something, depending on, per 10 boxes or per 25 boxes, you have a chance to win this item or a Zuka card. I know
Going
Ledgestone
the
doing that a
going the
little.
Mountain Dew cap style
Yeah,
of
kind of stuff
boxes.
like
Yeah.
that. That makes it a little more interesting, other than just, again, Discmania. It's a great idea. They were kind of one of the first for the big boxes that they started
Hmm.
providing with the mystery boxes. But I think
I don't know.
I don't know how many of those discs you actually end up throwing and bagging.
True, but here's like where I see it going is becoming more of a thing. And maybe I'm wrong, but hear me out. Right now, there's a big market around people opening packs of playing cards, right? And
Yeah.
why is this a thing? If you kind of dive into that, it's because of the possibility of somebody opening something that's worth something,
Yes.
right? And that's what drives in the views and the people wanting to participate in this as well, funneling all the money in, right? And I'm
Yeah.
talking specifically here about like streamers that are doing these type of things, but because they're doing these things and because that's becoming more ubiquitous, more people are watching live streams and things like that, as that becomes kind of a thing that we're ingesting as a culture, if you will. That I see leading these boxes to more maybe a subscription funnel where there's a chance, like you're saying, maybe not with a code, but to get something rare and valuable. And that will start driving the market up, I think. I think we're going to see more of that. Now, it could just be a fad, right? And it's quick come, quick to go. We'll see. But I think here in the interim, if somebody can figure out the right formula of might get something valuable per box, we could see an uptick in these.
Yeah.
I
And
don't
and
know.
right now, along with some of these, like you said, or like we just talked about,
Mm-hmm.
Ledgestone has those things where it's like kind of golden ticket tile type thing, where you win
Mm-hmm.
an item that's not normally in the box.
Right.
Um, Adam Hammis actually just made a post about him providing mystery boxes from his personal stash, as well as new discs that are coming out from Discraft, where he has 3 golden tickets that he's going to put in there for something extra, I guess. So
Nice.
that's kind of neat.
I think
And
I
with,
think
well,
what really would sell it here for disc golf is not the golden ticket, redeem this to get the thing. It's actually having the item in it.
yeah,
Because that's I think the secret ingredient or an ingredient in the secret formula,
yeah.
right? Is the look at this thing that I got. Oh, what are my chances? I'm going to go do it, right?
Yeah.
I want
And
that physical thing now.
With
Mm.
Discmania, they have that special disc that's down underneath in a little secret compartment in the box.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
That's the new drop or the new disc. Or
Right.
one thing I can say is this year that was a little bit different, which is neat,
Mm.
is for their top pros that they sponsor. Each one of them got to design or suggest a combination of mold, plastic, stamp, and all that isn't usually a constant manufactured disc. So that does provide that unique item that may be a one of 5 or one of 10 or one of even 50. That's still a short amount of discs.
True.
So that was a neat twist that they incorporated into this box. But yeah. If you haven't, I know that there's still some deals going on with manufacturers and places that sell discs that you can find. And yeah, moving on. Separate from that, PDGA membership. I don't know if you saw this. PDGA membership. They've split up their subscriptions or membership options. And back when I started, way back when I
Back
started,
in my day.
they you got a disc when you first initially joined, right? I think they're still doing that. However, when you renew, those are all now optional items that you can add to, right?
Right.
This year, this is the first time that I've seen them do it. It's not just one disc. So they're providing 3 new molds with different stamps that you can choose from. And these are discs that are obviously only available for that year, that annual period. And these ones, I believe, are all MVP, MVP, Axiom, Streamline.
You're paying more to add these on, or these are included?
No, these ones are. That's the thing, is I think these ones are definitely add-on, because you're not going to get 3 discs.
Right.
You may get 1, I think, if you're a brand new.
Back when I signed up too, they just gave you a disc.
Yeah, brand new members always get a free first initial disc.
Guess what I got with that disc?
What did you get?
My first loss of a disc. I don't have any idea where that thing went.
Wasn't it like was it diamond? Was it a
no idea. I remember it was a fairway.
Was it? I don't know if I still
remember.
I don't know if I still have mine, to be honest with you.
I think it was black plastic too.
Yeah.
Immediately lost it.
Yeah. Well,
that's the downside, right?
Yeah, you live and learn. Live and learn.
Right.
I did want to shout out to Jonathan from Latitude 64. He's their media personality promotion guy. He recently had a video where he interviewed Kristin Tattar. And I just thought that's a notable interview. I like, again, this could be more my age. I don't know how many younger players or younger disc golfers like these interview style videos, but I love them. I mean, because you get to learn the personality of the person,
Sure.
Which makes you, whether it makes you go, what are they talking about? Or maybe, yeah, I totally get that. And you like them more because of it. But there was definitely
63,000 people enjoyed it.
Well, that's good. Well, here's the thing.
Watched it.
It's Kristin.
2,000 of those liked it.
She's like the most liked FPO player.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe Ultiworld just did a thing on it that I just read recently, where she was still the most liked FPO player for this last year. So it bodes well for her and the views on that. So shout out to that. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. Latitude 64 YouTube channel. And
it was a good video.
Yeah.
I actually organically just watched that one.
That's awesome.
It came up. I'm like, ooh, watch.
She's
one of those things.
Like we've discussed this before. She's to me, it's not just disc golf that makes me appreciate her.
Mm-hmm.
It's her outlook on life and her respect for not only the game but other players too. There's again, I don't want to get deep into that. How I like me some Kristin. So, okay. So actually discussing about how the most liked, Disc Golf Pro Tour recently announced some awards that they have. And I don't know if I'm going to hit every single one, but I do have some of these on here. Let me know what you think. Okay. FPO Rookie of the Year ended up being Emily Weatherman.
Okay.
Do you remember who that is?
I remember watching her play.
Do you remember her almost winning DDO?
Mm-hmm.
Dynamic Disc
Open? I think.
Yeah. And then there was that call where she went out of bounds and yada, yada, yada. Okay. So she won FPO Rookie of the Year. Makes sense. She did win an event this year, so shout out to her. MPO Rookie of the Year is Jesse Niemanen. So
good pick.
Are there others out there? Possibly.
Yeah.
But again, Rookie of the Year. Good for him. FPO Most Improved Player. There's a couple ones in here that I'm kind of questioning a little bit.
I have the exact same questions as you, actually.
Okay. FPO Most Improved Player. Evelina Salomon.
No.
Right? No. Most Improved Player. Now, Most Improved Player is for 2024.
Right.
Not
this year.
2023 to 2024. It's 2024. This year, she was ridiculously better.
Yeah.
The whole year, from beginning to end. So I don't understand how that's an improved player for the year. I see from 23 to 24, yes.
Sure.
But not 24 as a whole. She was solid this whole year. So I don't know how these get decided, who decides these, who's on the ballot for who decides who gets the picks for these, and whether it's media personality, whether it's players or whatnot, combination. I don't know. That kind of
I would almost put up 2 players.
Who's that?
And this kind of goes into also player of the year.
Okay.
Because I think we both have a discrepancy there, right?
Definitely.
Player of the year for FPL, let's just put that out there, was who? Missy Gannon, right? So
player of the year, yeah.
I would take Missy Gannon, put her in a most improved player for the year, in my mind. And then I would put Kristin, probably the same person you would.
Yes.
In the player of the year for reasons that you'll probably explain too for why you would put her there. Or I could see maybe 2 other players. Depends. If we want to go the 2023 to 2024, I'd almost want to put Owen Scoggins up there.
That's a good point.
I think she's a pretty damn good contender for that.
Yes.
Or if we're talking about just this year, maybe Ella Hansen, our ultimate frisbee convert, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. There's arguments to be made, I would say, but I don't think that putting Evelina up there was right for improved player.
Yeah, I don't think
most improved player.
Like you said, Missy Gannon, I don't think she started off too hot this year. So for the year, I could see that.
Because then you see the improvement of, it didn't start off too hot to, look, by the end of the year.
Ended up winning again the Pro Tour Championship. Like, again, I agree with you on Elaine King Player of the Year. I think Kristin should have won that. She led the field in wins and podiums. How do you not get Player of the Year?
Right.
When you lead the field in wins, not only wins, but podiums as well.
Yeah. Placing. Yeah.
But again, who votes? I don't know. No. On that FPO tip, the comeback. How about this? Comeback Player of the Year. Do you think comeback player, again with me, most improved player, and then you have a comeback player? That's very similar in my opinion. Because you're improving, right? You started off not great. Isn't that a comeback?
Yeah.
Couldn't that be considered a comeback?
Yeah. We
don't need to muddy the waters with all these different little. What about the scramble player of the year or the putting player? Like let's just clean it up a little.
I mean, you could, but
I don't want to take away from these people.
I think comeback player and improved player is really the same thing.
I think
unless we're extending the definition of most improved player to be from the previous season to this season. Then there could be 2 different people.
Yes, then there's an argument there. Absolutely. Comeback player of the year. It's null and void in this situation anyways, because Evelina Salonen got both. The comeback player and the most improved player.
And this is why the definition doesn't make sense.
Yeah. So, again, more power to her. She played incredible this year, so the more accolades she can get, she deserves it. The most improved player for MPO was Joey Buckets. So Joseph Anderson. I think that's not a bad pick. I don't think that's a bad pick. He's been really, really good, but he just hadn't gotten to that point, and he finally did this year.
Right.
He got a win, so shout out to him. Most improved. That makes some sense. Now, comeback player in this instance, I can kind of understand, because this is why. So MPO comeback player of the year, Gavin Rathbun. So he had an injury at in the early middle part of the year. So that kind of does make sense on the comeback. Maybe
because he literally came back into after not being there.
The naming might be the issue on this, I think. I think it needs to be renamed. But ultimately, what that leads us to MPO Ken Climo, Player of the Year. I don't know. Who do you think got this one?
Michael Jordan.
He is the GOAT. Any of you who think, I don't want to get into this debate, but LeBron is not a GOAT. Okay? I'm going to make my stand. I don't even watch a ton of basketball, but I'm going to die on this hill.
Mm-hmm.
Jordan, GOAT.
Sure.
Done. Let's move on. Player of the Year for Ken Climo, Player of the Year. Ends up being, no surprise at all, Gannon Buhr, because he had an incredible season. Incredible season. Very well.
The other Gannon.
Yeah. 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 But, yeah, man, I think there were some other, most appreciated, athlete and stuff like that, and things like that, that to me aren't as necessarily important, but neat to know,
Sure.
If you want to look up some of the other ones that Ultiworld did, go check out their posts, their little feed that they have, and you'll see some of the things that they did. They did some a bunch of ranked items like that as well. But yeah, dude, it's I don't know. I think there still needs to be some work on award naming and the awards that are. But yeah, yeah. But before we move on, what do they need to do, Justin?
If you wouldn't mind, hit the subscribe button if you're liking the show. If you're watching us on, YouTube, hit that subscribe button. Helps us out. And the further or the closer we get to that magic number, the closer we get to giving really nice prize boxes out.
We're getting there.
Of some stuff that I'm pretty sure you might want. So we're getting there. We're really close.
We got a bunch.
Obviously, if you're listening to the podcast on other platforms, go ahead and subscribe to us on there too.
Yeah. Okay, so I did want to definitely discuss a new product. Not new product in the sense of what it is, more so of how it is used or how it can be used. So if you have not heard, if you play disc golf at all, and if you play consistently, you've probably played with your local club. You've probably played possibly weeklies. And with those weeklies comes tags, right? You buy into the club, you get a tag. And then as you play during the week, you get to get a better tag depending on how you place that week, whatever, right? So there's a company called Disc Golf Cloud. If you go to store.discgolf.cloud, you can learn more about them. But it's basically integrating technology with tags. And I think it's a fantastic idea. I think it's going to be neat for metrics purposes. And if you're a data guy, then those are always fun to look at, right? A couple things I did want to notate here, and we're possibly looking at doing like a live with him via Instagram or something in the future. But it's kind of a one-man operation. But there's some really cool features. So all Disc Golf Cloud tags are connected to the discgolf.cloud platform. And what that means is that there are built-in NFC chips on their tags, and basically QR codes, right? And they are paired, uniquely encoded and paired with a digital tag. So what that gives you is you can scan it with your iPhone or your Android device, which is super awesome, right? You just tap it to your phone, and you can find the current tag holder. You can find the history of that tag, so whose hands it's passed back and forth to, and a bunch of other analytics that can go with that, depending on your area, possibly with other clubs in the area, things like that. Rounds played. You can view leaderboards and statistics for their groups. But all this ultimately, initially, is free. You sign up for an account when you get your tags, right? And then you have a bunch of different features that are available just straight out of the box, right? However, there are also additional features that can be unlocked if you go obvious. And this is how not only they make money, but you can support them so they can improve, right? There are premium subscriptions. So, and those include a free set of tags, which is awesome. So that way you're getting something, you're not just adding to and you're paying for the tags and then you're paying for this. When you do the premium subscription, it includes a free set of tags. So shipping, tax, and custom design aren't included on that, but it's included in that fashion, right? Individuals and club organizations can purchase the premium subscriptions, which is good. Limited functionality for the free is available. It includes viewing public leaderboards, tags, and live events, and joining existing clubs and groups. So they are looking at adding even more features as it moves forward. Talking with the owner, he did say that they're trying to stay away from UDisc and competing with UDisc, because UDisc is a ridiculously solid product, right? We all like it. Provides a lot of analytics for your own personal game, finding courses, all that stuff. But this is mainly more aimed towards the club aspect and it making it easier for the club to maintain and track the statistics for your weeklies and all that information. So very, very cool product. I definitely wanted to let everybody else know about it because it might be definitely beneficial for your club. If you're looking for something new, different than what you've had in the past, maybe this is something that you go with and it helps your club in the long run.
I see maybe this going to a slightly different approach where we are becoming I think we're already there in most cases. Almost everyone has a phone, smartphone. Right?
Yep.
So why do you need a physical tag?
That's the other thing. Yeah.
Why not just have an application online?
Yeah.
That keeps track in a database for you, and then you don't have a physical item. It's your number and your tag is all online. You pull up the app on your phone, and that's how it keeps track. Kind of like scoring during a tournament round.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Just going one step further, where you're putting this into a more organized format for a club.
Yeah, and you're
features for
the physical product
club.
Yeah.
Right? So you remove that physical aspect. Now you cut down the cost of that physical item. But maybe this is the first step of getting there.
Right? Could be.
And maybe we see companies like UDisc going, that's not that much more of a step from what we already offer. Right? And start marketing towards disc golf clubs. I think this will lead to interesting times. I'm excited by the idea. And I think it's cool because I still like the physical item, right?
Yes.
Like,
same.
Even on like video games that I purchase, I like purchasing, if I'm really into that video game series, I like purchasing the collector's edition so I can get the thing, the physical item, because we don't have the physical CD anymore. Yeah. Right? But I can get the cool thing that's with it because there's something about having the thing. And I know a lot of people are opposite in that, right? They're like, nah, I don't want the thing because the thing takes up room. I get it. And I think there's probably more so of those people than there are the people that like the physical thing. So I could see it eventually transitioning into a thingless, a tagless tag system. If that makes sense.
Yeah. I think another thing too is I brought this up to the owner is what's cool about this, and maybe in the future, and he said, that is something that we're looking at, is you could then have club versus club data.
Yep.
And you could integrate it right there. You could have your regional rankings, all that stuff, because now it's being tracked via this digital portal.
You could set up a club versus club event where you don't have to be in the same physical place.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, obviously there's something that needs to go into that system, but this allows for it if everybody's using the same platform.
Right.
Just saying. And
so they already have a bunch of clubs that do use their product, which is awesome. But again, this is new. This is the first time I'd heard of it and seen. So I definitely want to get the word out. Again, Disc Golf Cloud. So again, you go to store.discgolf.cloud and go check out their products. Now, obviously, right now their tags are very simple. I don't know if that's something down the road where they can. Obviously, that is something down the road where they could become more elaborate. But
Right.
the idea of this, genius, great idea, great idea.
Really good idea. Yep.
Yeah. Moving on. Okay, so we did discuss last show, I think it was, all the cool off-season series that the Disc Golf Network provides. Really cool.
Yes.
They actually just had a couple new posts. One is I'm going to lose it here. Well, they have their putting, right? Their putting league or the putting game, right? Which is really fun because they do it at a bunch of different locations. But they also have a Finding the Line. Finding the Line is this new one that is currently tracking Macbeth and Dylan Cease. So Dylan Cease has a property called Turtle Rock, and Macbeth is designing it. Avery Jenkins has jumped on a couple episodes now, which is awesome because he's designed, I don't know how many courses. He's played a ridiculous amount of courses as well, so he has more than enough experience. But yeah, those are a couple of the current series. One thing I did think would be kind of neat, and I don't know, you can poke holes in this all you want because I do like to hear constructive criticism in anything that I do because I like to give it too, right? But just an idea I thought would be kind of neat. You have 9 holes, right? That way you can play it at a bunch of different, it's simple courses, right? Easier courses. 9 holes with a pro. You get that pro on there. Maybe you do 2 pros. That way you can integrate more people in each show. But it would be pretty quick because it's only 9 holes. The idea is kind of a twist on not really hot ones. I don't want to say hot ones because they just ask questions in general, but there have been, I think it's the verses, the Hot One verses episodes that I've seen. This is basically you birdie, total softball question. What's your favorite food? What's your favorite? Something kind of kitschy, interesting, but not deep, right? You par, just a normal question that most people would like to learn about that athlete, that player. But if you bogey the hole, then you can get something personal about them that maybe they don't want to divulge or they have to do something silly. You know, putting game does do some of these things where you spin the wheel and you get this quirky thing that you have to do during it, wearing a dinosaur mask or wearing a princess outfit or having a massive shirt on that encumbers your flow of your putt, different things like that. I don't know. I just thought, the more ideas and stuff that maybe get out into the ether, then maybe we'll have even more series and product coming from Disc Golf Network, which I always look forward to. What do you think?
I mean, yeah, sounds good. The more content, the better, I guess.
Yeah,
So,
it's a twist on an interview, basically.
yeah. I mean, it's an idea that you came up with, so it's probably total crap. But the idea coming from someone else, probably fantastic. So if the network,
yeah,
DGPT wants to pick that up,
touche. Yeah.
Or not DGPT, DGN wants to pick that up, go for it.
Yeah, just contact me.
Yeah.
Talking about content.
Okay.
I don't know if you've recently watched. Do you follow golf at all?
No, absolutely
No.
not.
Okay. So one of the top players for a bit now is Bryson DeChambeau.
Okay.
He's been doing, he was
Tiger Woods.
Actually, huh?
It's not Tiger Woods. I think that's the last time I
Tiger Woods. Yeah. So Bryson's been doing this thing last month. He was doing it where, starting at the beginning of the month, day 1, he had one chance to get a hole-in-one over his house.
Okay.
From in front and over, right? Day 2, he gets 2 chances. Day 3, 3 chances, and so on and so forth.
Okay.
He finally completed it, and for the amount of shots that he had throughout this whole venture, he had so many come so close. He had one actually go in and bounce out. And that was like one of the earlier days, too.
Mm-hmm.
Like 6 or 7 or something like that. But he ended up finishing it, right? I think it was day 16 or something like that. So it took him longer than obviously he wanted, right? But everybody kind of, social media kind of was following. Anybody who follows golf at all was all over this thing, right? Well, Culver Dolan just started doing this month with a disc golf shot out and around kind of a big Anheuser at his house. I just thought that's neat. I like how he's taken that idea and involving disc golf into it, because I just watched day 2 and both shots were just a little too much power, went right over the top of the basket and deep. But it's this long sweeping Anheuser shot that's out and around his house. But yeah, I just wanted to say, if you haven't seen that, go check it out. He's starting to do that on his socials. Just one cool thing I thought I'd shout out there. Another thing that Drew Gibson's been doing. So Drew plays, obviously, if you know Drew, if you play disc golf, Drew Gibson, massive distance thrower, has been for a long time, been playing disc golf for a long time, but he also plays golf, traditional golf. And he had made a post stating, hey, if you have any other ideas, what do you think? Well, one of the things I thought after watching some of his videos is he had this one where he had a female golfer come on and he basically did a versus, right? Which is neat because you're getting a golfer traditional golfer, right, and involving disc golf, because she hit the ball and he threw the disc, which is kind of a neat twist. My personal opinion, I think more of this needs to happen. You need to get more athletes in other sports involved in disc golf, as well as influencers. Doesn't matter how big they are, because as you go, you can climb that ladder and get bigger and bigger. Yep. Because ultimately you get things like Bill Nye on Kai Cenat, which we discussed last show or the show before, where you have this massive outreach from influencers that aren't necessarily disc golfers, but they may like it if you introduce it to them. Right. So just an idea, again, another one of my silly ideas, I guess. Here's a silly idea, not coming from me. Well, maybe not so silly. Interesting. Here's an interesting idea. So Paul Kranz, which is a more so newer pro disc golfer, you might have heard his name over the past few years. He made a post stating two things. Basically, two things I took from it. One is disc golf needs to be, at least Disc Golf Pro Tour needs to be held in more populated areas. That makes sense, right? Makes sense, sure, because if it's in populated areas, you have more likelihood of getting visibility to it, right?
Yeah.
More people able to come to the event, maybe you do giveaways at local businesses or whatever, right? Radio shows. His other thing was he thinks that the courses are too difficult currently. And what he meant by that is you really only see a 1 or 2 horse race at any of these events. I don't see that as a problem personally. I think at each different event, yes, would it be neat if you started seeing, and we're getting there, obviously, because the size of the field at these levels now are increasing, right? People are getting better and better. They're taking it more seriously. They're doing their training in off season, all that stuff. It would be neat to see more names at the top, but that's not how life is. One, you either have on or off weekends or events, right? Tournaments. And that's how it is. You don't want to make it easier just to force the possibility of more players at the top. I think that players need to push themselves harder personally.
I think it's one of those things nobody wants to watch. Something that's not that competitive.
Yeah.
Because what's the point in the first place? You're watching something competitive.
Yep.
If it's easy, who cares, right?
Yeah.
If it's more difficult or there's somebody that really stands out amongst the crowd, awesome. And I think more people get behind that than, oh, well, now there's 20 people instead of 5.
Yeah.
Or
you want to
5
see
instead of 2. Who cares?
It's more exciting when you see those people that go beyond the norm.
Sure. I will say it's more exciting seeing a close race than it is somebody that just takes off, right?
Yes.
In terms of general interest in entertainment.
Definitely.
I like seeing that too, but it's way more entertaining if there's a little bit of drama in there. So as long as it's not just one person always taking it, and even in that case, you're like, oh, is he going to take this one? And then, you can get a little drama about that. But
yeah,
as long as it's not consistently, one person always, I don't really see a problem with it. As a matter of fact, I think that's better. So making it easier just for that sake? No.
Well, not only that, but when one person, let's say two people, but even when just one person is just playing out of their mind consistently week over week, right?
Mm-hmm.
That raises that bar for everybody,
right,
to push and push and push and reach and surpass. So I think if you have it to where there's the ability that more people are in play at the top of the field at the end of the tournament, it does thin out the difficulty, it does thin out the excitement, and it muddies the waters as to what's capable on a disc golf course for the top tier players.
Right.
Because you don't want to, I don't go and watch high school basketball, right?
Right.
I want to see the best of the best, and I want to see those best at their best.
Right.
So I don't know. I understand the thought process behind it of wanting to see, because I would like to see more people push and push and push and make it more dramatic, right? Obviously, drama sells, but I don't think you force it. Let it happen.
Right.
So yeah, I mean that's kind of where we're going to end this subject. But I did have a couple separate questions for you.
All right, hit me with them.
I love to have
questions. Lightning round style.
Okay. First, what are some companies that you feel would be good fits to be involved in for the DGPT or DGN, Disc Golf Network? Like outside of disc golf centric.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think outside of disc golf centric, so nothing to do with disc golf itself. There that necessarily.
Some companies that could benefit from disc golfers rather than putting money in and not seeing a return. Something that could actually connect to disc golf in a roundabout way.
That's a very good question. Hit me with yours first.
Okay, so one of mine is related to media. It's related to, again, influencers. One of the things you can see is Ezra Aderhold has been doing a lot of videos. He's been doing those for a long time now. And he recently has been doing a series of his trips overseas, like a world trip, right, with him and his friends. But what I mean by that is getting companies that provide video and audio equipment. So DJI, Insta360, GoPro, stuff like that, where you need those products to film, right? You can do Sony cameras. You can do different type of digital products. Another one is, personally, I do have a friend that works there, but America's Tire. I think that would be a great company because there's so many individuals that are road warriors in disc golf. And they tour in their vans, in their vehicles, whatever that vehicle may be. And with putting on that wear and tear on the vehicle, you're going to go through tires. So I think involving a company that has those type of products,
I think
that relate to
even companies like automotive companies, right?
Yeah.
You have like I don't know, Land Rover disc golf edition. That might be a little separated from the common disc golfer, but still, like having those kind of partnerships too, maybe with a manufacturer and having certain, I don't know what you'd call them, models, if you will, or trims to their different.
I think that would be neat. Cool. And so I think that kind of stuff. Obviously, camping related businesses, because a lot of the disc golfers out there, they're very outdoorsy already. Some of these events that when you're doing Road Warrior, if you aren't staying at a hotel or not, maybe you're staying at a camping site, you get a lot of products like that. Columbia, North Face, all these different businesses. Airbnbs, Airbnb companies, any of those businesses that do Airbnb or Airbnb itself, because they use it when they travel, right? I think those are some of the roundabout companies that we know that pro disc golfers on the road use day in and day out. I think those are the companies that people need to start dialing in on a little bit because they relate directly. Like Barbasol, yes. The men that play disc golf, a lot of them have facial hair. Yes, right? That's great. I think that's a great, and that's not your immediate thought. So that is another one of those that's kind of like, it's connected, but it's not, when you look at a Barbasol can, you don't think disc golf, right?
Right.
That kind of thought process is what I think needs to be more dialed in on. But I don't know. What do you think? You have any additions?
No, not really. I think you covered pretty much all of them that I can think of, at least. So
Disc Golf Network, if you need me to reach out to anybody, you just give me...
All right, there we go.
I'll start putting some feelers out.
Right.
Okay,
Coffee
last
company.
question. The reason why I brought this up is because I think when you think hard about it, there's definitely argument to both sides. And Yuli touched on this recently. Should people be more intent on concentrating on the good aspects of their game during their field practice, putting practice, or should they concentrate on what they're lacking? Which do you think, or is either of them more important than the other?
It's in the way that I guess you practice, right? So me personally, if there's a very strong part of my game, I'm going to practice enough to maintain it, right? But I'm going to put more focus when I'm practicing on the stuff that I suck at because I want to get better at it. The only way to get better is to put more time and more practice into it, right? Good practice, right, leads to performance gains usually, right? Is how it goes, right? Good practice, the better you get at it, I guess, in a way of speaking. So I would practice at the bad stuff more than the good stuff, but still practice the good stuff because, like I said, you just need to maintain it. That's kind of my philosophy about it. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah. So he did say, like, if you go out to practice putting, right, and you're just dialed in right out the gate, let it be.
Yeah.
You're solid, right? Don't overdo it. Don't try to find a fault in you're missing by a half an inch. Right. It's making it. So don't overanalyze. Overanalyzing can be bad, right?
Absolutely.
But yeah, if you're out there at the field and you're having the shanks and you're trying to hit a specific spot with however many discs, whatever, continue at it until you get some sort of consistency. That makes the most sense. But one thing I do want to notate here is you've got to not push aside what you're good at, because having confidence in something you know you're good at can infiltrate its way into the other aspects of your game. Knowing that you can do this good gives you confidence going, well, I know I can do this, which means I can do what I put my mind to, right? So trying to go, yes, it's good, but it can be better. Yes, but if it's good and it's doing what you want it to do, you're never going to be perfect, right?
Right.
And as you get better in one aspect, you may start to falter in another. Because you're putting a lot more effort into this, that means you're putting a little bit less into this, right?
Right.
But I think that's a big thing that a lot of people don't do, is allow themselves to appreciate what they're good at, so that way they have confidence going into what they need to improve in down the road.
And I think that plays kind of twofold. When you get to game time, you know what you've practiced. You know your strengths and weaknesses. So play to those strengths and weaknesses.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's how you take the practice onto the field and use it practically. Like, okay, I've been practicing this. I know where I'm at. And play to that, right? Not, well, if I just happen to get lucky with this shot. No. Play what you're good at. And you get that by the practice. That's where you gain that knowledge at. So I think it goes twofold.
Definitely. I agree.
Well, another thing that goes twofold is getting equipment and saving money while doing it. You see that
Oh, yeah.
transition there? If you're in the market for some new disc golf swag, maybe a new bag, you could check out Upper Park Disc Golf. And if you're there and if you're purchasing something, why not save some money? Save 15% off of your entire purchase by using the code DISCGOLFSHOW, all one word, in the coupon area on checkout. And save yourselves 15% if you're there and buying stuff anyways. Might as well save yourself some money. There you go. If you'd like to contact us by email, you can do that at theshow@discgolfshow.com. If you disagree with anything that Nick said today, especially that LeBron comment, you can email him at nick@discgolfshow.com. He loves it. This show was brought to you in part by Final Nine Sports with their 2 locations, one in Rockland, one in Orangevale. Support local. That's really the message here. So I think that'll do it for me and for Nick. We'll talk to you guys next time. Remember to subscribe, and in disc golf, as in life, aim high and let it fly.